All right, we're going live. We're going to see if we can figure out what's going on with Gaz.
Don't see on YouTube chat.
It's probably about
Oh, got it.
20,
You're on
30
YouTube.
seconds behind.
It's on.
20
I see it.
seconds. Looks like it's 20 seconds.
You're good.
All right. You see all four of us on there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
good.
I
Can you hear
now
us now?
you.
You can?
Yep.
What'd you do?
I went into system preferences and changed the sound options because it wasn't changing it through the settings on here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
And then
since
it picked up.
you couldn't hear us, we're live now.
Oops. Sorry. Hang on a second.
What?
There.
We haven't started recording yet, but we're live. We're live.
We're live.
Okay, cool.
All right, I'm going to make sure we've got Gaz
some
on
of
guest
us are
3
alive.
here. We've got Dave on guest 2. Look at Dave all fancy with his lower thirds.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. I
And
gotta.
then we got
If I only
Eric.
had some. Yeah.
Camo Studio.
Move on.
We
Eric,
got to
Eric
we
Eric
got to
is
get
the
you
lower
to
third.
we got to get you to tilt your camera down a little bit, Eric.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got to go down. You got
Yeah.
wait. You're way up here.
There.
Oh.
Oops. Now I'll disappear. Shoot. That probably screwed it up now. Accidentally hit
I
the
have to move
light.
it up a
Oh,
little
now
bit.
you got my head cut off.
Now you got to go. There you go. There you go.
How's that?
Perfect.
Now you
Perfect.
can see the mess behind me better.
Yeah. Well, have you seen behind me?
Yeah,
All right.
you've got an organized mess, and that's the cleanest of all, right there.
No. Oh, don't even get
Gaz.
started on Gaz.
He keeps it clean.
All
But
right.
why is my video? Oh dear, there's a bit of a lag there, isn't there?
We ran into that a bit with Nick from Germany too.
Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to keep the Europeans out. I can tell.
You see the Apple logo starting to form, so
Yeah, I'm going to
Guess
go
that means
ahead
something.
and try to find my damn mouse. There it is. Okay. Couldn't find my mouse. All right. I'm going to let's get started. Everyone ready?
ready.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Here we go. It's For Mac Guys Only, episode number 395 for September 7th, 2022. Reaction time. Apple's Far Out iPhone event. Hey everyone, welcome back to For Mac Guys Only, the show for the Mac community, where we share our thoughts and opinions on current Mac news and events. Well, with D23 taking place in Anaheim and WordCamp US taking place in San Diego, both happening this weekend, this is a busy week for rabid fandom in both pop culture and the web world. And then, of course, along comes Apple with their next event, and never one's to shy away from a good reaction time episode. We're finding ourselves traveling far out to Apple's campus today for the debut of what we believe will be the iPhone 14, the Apple Watch 8, maybe a Pro Watch tossed into the mix, and what I did not think would be debuting today, but strong rumors are saying otherwise, the AirPods Pro 2. So, to get started on today's discussion, let's turn to this episode's reaction time panel. First up, co-host of the My Mac podcast, joining us to share his views from across the pond, it's Gary Malpas. Hey Gary, thanks for being here today.
You're very welcome. I really enjoy doing these. So, how can I refuse, Mike? How could I refuse? And it's an Apple event, so you've got to be there, haven't you? You've got to be there to to see it, enjoy it, and experience all of the new wonderful things that are coming our way. He says through possibly grated teeth.
How could you miss it? Indeed. Next up, co-host of For Mac Guys Only, and the one who's always hoping that this will be the day Apple announces its flying car.
Flying
It's
car,
Eric
yeah.
Erickson. Howdy, Eric.
Hi, Mike. And I don't think we're going to see it this time. I don't know. I just have a hunch. So, but I will take some AirPods too. So if the rumors are saying that, and the fact that they're announcing it here, maybe there's actually something going to be cool about it as opposed to just like a late October rollout. So I could, I think the battery in mine are starting to go a little bit, so I could always use a new pair.
There's a lot of excitement over the AirPods Pro 2. Is that why? Are we getting to the point where batteries are starting to fail, and that's why folks are looking for an
That's why.
upgrade?
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
No, they're selling for about $180 on Amazon
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
they definitely dropped the price. So
Now, before we get too far into that discussion, right? This wouldn't be an iPhone event without the host of In Touch with iOS, Mr. Dave Ginsburg. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me. This is always a blast to do this, and glad to be here. Yeah, there's going to be all kinds of iPhone talk today. I mean, Tim Cook in his his whatever you want to call it, his pre-speech here already mentioned all three devices that we already know are going to be announced today. So the rumors just are out there. But glad to be here.
Did he really? He already announced all the
Well, he
devices
said
that.
he said iPhone, AirPods, and Apple Watch. We carry them with us all the time. So he led right into it.
Well, isn't that nice of him? Isn't that nice of him? Now, as Apple prepares to take the stage, or they already have taken the stage, as Dave just pointed out, do we want to take a couple minutes to go around the virtual room here and talk about what we're expecting from Apple? Maybe starting with you, Dave. I don't feel there are any big surprises in store for us, but do you want to give us a quick rundown of what's expected from Apple today?
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate we don't get to be surprised as we used to be able to in the past. It's impossible. And with the way I cover things on the podcast, you gotta keep eyes on this. But iPhones are going to be, they say, at least 4 models, including a Pro Max and then just a standard Pro. And Apple Watch, they said there's going to be a Pro Series Apple Watch, which they're talking about right now on the Apple Watch. Nothing yet, but so you're going to have some Apple Watch, and then the AirPods. They're going to, there's well overdue to get the new models. The ones I'm using are the originals, AirPods Pro in 2019. So it's a long time for a product for Apple. So it's good to hear those things. But then iOS 16 is going to be, I'm sure, will be announced, and there's going to be a lot, hopefully some other stuff. I'm hoping some services announcements, maybe something changed with that, and but we'll see. But I think there's going to be no surprises of those three devices for sure.
Yep. And Eric, has there been anything in the rumor mill catching your attention, or maybe that you're hoping to hear Apple announce, other than that flying car, of course?
Well, I think the camera is supposed to be something. I heard rumors vaguely of a 48 megapixel camera, and also the other rumor kind of was satellite connectivity for emergency calls on both the phone and the watch. But how that comes about, and if that actually comes about, I don't know. But and in the camera, while definitely would like to see an upgrade from the 12 megapixel, for such a small sensor, I'm not sure if 48 would be great. I'm sure Apple will figure out a way, though.
The first thing I thought of when you said 48 megapixel camera was a quick take. You think we'll see an update on the quick take today?
I think we'll see it. I think that's probably, what was that? Was that a third of a megapixel? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but it was, you have to admit, it was pretty awesome for an early digital camera.
It was. It's, yeah. I was going to say it's too bad they got out of it, but they didn't get out of cameras.
No,
really.
No, they jumped in with all 4 feet.
Yeah.
How about you, Gary? What's been wetting your whistle in the days leading up to today's event, if anything?
Well, ditto Eric and Dave, really. I mean, I've seen the same things. The one thing that I'm probably wanting to look at change update is the item on my wrist, which is battery life is actually down to 76%, I think it is. So that
Wow.
is something which is getting close to me wanting to
Do.
perhaps get an update on it. But it is, I've had it. It's a Series 4. I've had it for a long time. So the one thing that's obviously been in the rumor mills is this new, more rugged version of a watch, and I certainly use mine out and about on the bike and out when I'm doing our walks and stuff. So if they do a more rugged version, whether I'd need it or not, because this has survived all of that I've had to throw it so far, I don't know. But it certainly it looks like the event started and they're starting on the watch, and they're certainly talking about all the people that the watch has saved so far. So it's a health industry waiting for Apple to enter, and I think they've already entered it in to a certain degree with the watch, and I think they'll just want more and more of that health action. So the more items they can put on the watch to check that you're alive, the more it will sell. So yeah.
I mean, I've heard the body temperature rumor. I know they've been
Yes.
talking about in the future some sort of blood glucose measuring tool, but that's not expected this year.
No, that's been a
Well,
tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't want to throw it all at the in 1 year, will they? So
Well, I think the glucose is still a work in progress. They want it to perfection. They want it to it perfected, and I don't think the technology is just quite there just yet to their satisfaction. So, unfortunately, I think it's definitely going to be a huge game changer once that comes out with the Apple Watch. But everything it already has
Dave,
now is great.
Dave,
So
Dave, I don't think they're looking for perfection. I think they're looking for something which is workable and that everybody will accept, the results on. So as long as they can make it as an acceptable device and something which gives you reasonable results, which everyone's happy with, because if if we wait for perfection, which Apple do get close to it, but if we wait for absolute perfection, we'll be waiting a long time. It's like that car; it's taken a long time to come.
right,
And yet it'll be here. It'll be here, and we'll wonder how we. Nah, never mind. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chat room too. I should probably mention that if anyone is joining us live and you're in the chat room, I'd be interested in any of your reactions as Apple unveils the latest ways to take advantage of their Apple Card payment plans. So I'm kind of seeing some hints here. Now, I'm not watching it live as some of you are, but I'm kind of seeing some hints in the live blogs that I'm following. Wired is saying that apparently the Apple Watch has saved a customer from a bear and it got a person out of a trash compactor. If that's not a lead-in to an Apple Watch Pro, I don't know what is.
Can I ask a question on that second one? How did he get in?
Why did he get in?
or we fall, or
Yeah.
Maybe the bear was after him.
It's the same guy.
yeah.
We need a little more context. A little more context on this one.
Well, they are talking about the Series 8, so they officially announced the Series 8, and they're going through a lot of the health stuff right now.
Seeing any major differences yet in terms of design? They were saying the design should be about the same as previous years.
Yeah, it looks.
Well,
in the
it
picture.
works, doesn't it? It works, and I think most people, you get a lot of people complaining and wanting the round face, but I'm quite happy with the size and the shape. So I don't think there's a great deal in changing it too much, unless a shape change comes with the ruggedness. I love the fact that you can use lots of wristbands and they're easily to get on and easy to get off, and they're secure, and you can change the look of the watch really easy. And I think to a degree that might have put them in a bit of a difficult situation because they've got to try and keep that concept. But I don't think it's a bad concept unless they can make it ultra thin, which in fact is probably not a way that they need to go. So there was lots of rumours about a bit of a change in the shape, but it's not looking like it at the moment, unless this is
Yeah.
just the standard Series 8 and they come out with
This is the standard.
rugged Series 8. Yeah, okay.
I totally agree with you too, Gary. I think the shape is great, and I've got a bunch of bands that I don't want to have to,
Oh, I was afraid.
replace. But it looks, it looks like it's going to be the same. And I, like you too, I love that you can change the bands really easily and change the look. And it's been something that's just been really great about the watch. And so hopefully, if they do come out with a new shape, that they still have the regular shape for now, at least for a little while to get into it. So,
Well,
Yeah,
I'd
one
heard that.
thing-
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I was say one thing they did mention as this is going through is there's a new temperature sensor, which I think is an interesting thing to
Yeah.
add. But actually will measure your temperature, and they're talking a lot about women's health and pregnancy, menstrual cycles, that kind of stuff right now. So a lot of focus on extended health benefits from the watch, and it just continues. But the temperature sensor, I think, is a really cool thing they've added. It looks like.
yeah.
Well, it's a
Was
cool
that was
thing.
that a
and-
play on? Was that a play on words, Dave? The temperature sensor
It
is a
was.
cool thing.
It's going to be cool and temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I want to go back to the watch band, because the one thing I had heard is if the Pro watch is actually going to debut today, that it may very well be using different bands.
That's why I was
Oh,
concerned.
yeah.
I did a prediction that I was really frightened of the fact that Apple is going to change the bands all together, because remember this Apple Watch has been out since 2015, so we're
15.
talking 7 years of an Apple Watch, 7 years of everybody having large collections of watch
bands.
bands. I mean, I know I know our friend Warren. He has a little case, and he opens it up, and there's probably 100 bands sitting in this folder of people. I mean, I'm not that bad. I mean, probably have about 14 to 18 of them.
Yeah.
But that's still a lot. But I still stick with this the loop. I really love this fitted loop. I haven't changed it since I've got it, and it's a real comfortable band. But yeah, I'm glad. It looks like the bands are going to stay the same on the standard watch.
Warren, of course, being your occasional contributor to In Touch with iOS.
That's right.
I'm between you and your friend as far as the number of bands, but the one I've got on now is the same one that I bought when I actually bought my first watch back in 2015, and it's the leather link, I think, and it still looks great and it still works great. It's just, it's really held up, and it's fun to wear.
Yeah.
I have not yet used one of the bands that Apple has included with their watch. I've always
really?
I continue to purchase third-party bands.
Yeah,
That way I
do
can
too.
mix and match colors and do all kinds of stuff with it. So I've got a whole wrap. Actually, I've got a whole bunch of bands that I've never
Original
even
band.
used.
Original band.
That's your original band. That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're
I'm sure I have the
talking
original band
about
somewhere.
Yeah, they're talking about the watch, and one thing actually I'd put in a note, but I didn't mention it actually, and that's the gyroscope that they've got, and they've got a new accelerometer. So they're now not only looking at if you fall over or fall off your bike, but now they're looking if car crash detection possibly.
Yep.
So that is something which is what they're trying to do there is obviously make it your fairy godmother looking out for you, and obviously being able to call emergency services when you're in trouble.
And you can't do it.
Yeah.
To clarify, the watch has always had a gyroscope, right? But it's now they're
Yes.
making the accelerometer better so that it can. Oh
Yeah.
wow, it's showing all the
Yeah. So
ways.
it looks like what they're doing is that they're able to detect a car crash, because there are obviously different motions that are included in that, from you just falling over or falling off
Yeah.
your bike, which I have done.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So if I
let me explain. Rather than falling off my bike, I've kind of fallen over because I've got a bike which has got clips on it. or they're called
Oh,
clipless actually, and they were new to me, so I couldn't get my feet out, so I just sat on the bike while the bike went over. But it said, "Do you need help?" Well, yes, I do, but not the sort of help that you're going to call for. So
Is that did that occur a la Benny Hill? You ride in and you're just kind of sitting there and fall over.
actually, very much so. Yes.
I've done that
Yes.
actually.
Yes. Anyway, so now the accelerometer, they've got more. I think they're probably. It looks like it's more sensitive, and they can detect different motions. I think, obviously, with that process.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm noticing what is inevitable with an event like this, especially with the watch, where there are so many competitors out there. With the phone, we're going to see this too, with so many competitors out there. But as I'm going through these live blogs, I'm starting to see, well, so and so had that, so and so had that, so and so had that. Yeah, well, now we have it too.
Yeah, I do get a bit fed up with this because the amount of times I've seen and heard people tell me, "Oh yeah, but they had that, and I've got that on my," but I've never seen you use it. Well, it never quite worked. Hello, hello.
That that's exactly what I was going to say. This is something that I'm guilty of doing myself when I used an alternative operating system for my phone, when I had an alternative operating system watch. I was guilty of also saying, well, I had that feature. You know, I kind of thought it was already in the iPhone or already in the watch. But then when you get the Apple Watch and you get the iPhone, you realize, wow, like you said, it actually works now.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
becomes useful.
Yeah, it becomes useful. My previous operating systems were the training wheels for actually having a functional device in my pocket after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are they announcing, Dave? Because you're normally fairly hot on keeping up with that that
Looks
video.
like they're talking about the bands. Looks like the bands are going to stay same size. Just some new refreshes of the bands, but more popular colors and some new colors. And Hermes, of course, you got to have a Hermes bad and pay $400-500 for that
Right.
bad boy. So
Yeah.
those are going to be
I
there
bet
as
they'll
well.
have new colours of watch as well. That's bound to
Yeah.
come along.
The other thing I'll note for you guys is the battery life. They said it's going to be all day battery life, 18 hours, and at 36 hours in low power mode. So they really made some improvements on the battery. So
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a no-brainer for you guys.
It was turning into a bit of a no-brainer, especially when I checked my
Yeah.
battery health on it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although to be honest with you, I will say actually, sorry, you can actually get a battery upgrade. I know it's still expensive, but it's cheaper than a new phone for £75 over here in the UK. So I'd expect it's a similar equivalent price over in the US.
As I'm looking at the pictures of the Watch 8, you know, one of the things I like about the 3, I still have the 3, Gaz. And you talk about the 4. I still have the 3. My battery life is still pretty decent. I will get a day and a half out of it still, if I'm not using it too heavily. But one of the things I like about the 3 versus the 7 and the 6 is the slightly more rectangular shape of the watch versus the more squarish shape of the later generation watches. And I'm looking at the Watch 8 here, and I'm wondering if it's not kind of going back to that more rectangular shape.
All depends which picture, because I'm looking at a couple of pictures with the price on and the one before that, and I know what you're saying, but I wonder whether that's just the way the imagery is.
You think it's just an ocular contusion?
Yes,
Yeah,
that.
an ocular contusion. I think that's what it is.
Although there is a picture of a top down, and I don't know, you might be right. No,
So
it can't be.
So they did announce it's going to you can order the watch today. Price starts at $399 for the GPS version, $499 for the cellular version. So I'm sure those are the base prices based on size, probably 42 millimeter, 41 millimeter, and 45 millimeter size faces will probably be a little more. But
Did you just say 3 sizes? Did you just say 3?
Oh, two sizes. There's the usually it's what is it, the 40? I can't remember the numbers. 41
44
Premier.
and 45.
Is it
No,
44?
42 and 45.
42 and 45. The smaller one and the larger size one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I misheard. I
that's
thought
for
I
the
heard you
series.
rattle off 3 sizes, and I was like, whoa,
No,
that's
no,
new.
no. Oh, no. Two sizes. And then, so that's the Series 8, and now there's now talking about the SE. You get some final information on that one. That's coming.
Which always feels like a reskinned, 7, 6?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think it's a reskin 4 or 3 or
Oh,
something. I
really?
don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
It
the
better
SE
not be a
probably-
3.
No, it's not
Yeah.
a 3.
I
Yeah.
think it's at least a 4, isn't it? It might even be.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's at least a 4.
I'm disappointed in Apple, not because my 3 won't get the next watchOS update. That I understand that. I've had this thing for quite some time now. I get that, but I'm disappointed that they sold 3s until recently, and they're not getting the next update. That's
Yeah.
disappointing. That's a disappointing move on their part.
Yeah.
Whoa!
And they're saying
10 new updates.
the SE is going to be 30% larger than the Series 3's face. The screen itself.
Oh, so that's So that's at least a 4, if not more. I do
probably.
like the extra screen space
Ooh.
of the 7.
Whoa. I've just seen the price: $249 GPS, $299 GPS and cellular for the SE.
There you go.
And
good price.
just before that,
Wow.
they were talking about family setup. Dan Selford is going to be happy to know. There's someone else. Basically, you compare watches for children to your iPhone using the family setup.
Right.
So if you want to give your kids a watch, they don't want to carry a phone, they could still make emergency calls, of course, and all of those processes.
Yeah.
And you can also understand where they are, and they're safe as well if they fall off their tricycle.
I'll be interested to see what actually comes of the battery life. If we really get 36 hours of battery life, that's pretty phenomenal.
In low power mode.
Oh, is that it? It's low power mode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to switch it to low power mode.
Yeah.
They kind of say it's for those long flights or where you're not near a charger for the night. And one thing interesting, it looks like the SE has the back of it matches the color of the front and sides, the aluminum. So that's it looks kind of nice. I guess I haven't seen it like that before.
Yeah. So that pricing is pretty amazing. $249 GPS, $299 cellular.
Because it was $279 before, and I don't think that there was a cellular option before.
Yep. And here comes the Pro. They're just starting.
Yeah, they're showing people running across the desert and
Yeah, that's us.
swimming. Yeah.
So here's their
Scooby diving.
here's their price increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, of course, will be the price increase, won't it? Because I think those previous prices were, if not the same, obviously that SE watch you said, Eric, probably has come down, but I think the normal Watch 8 was the same
Standard
price as previous.
Yeah. If anything, it may have been a little bit more, but I think the $399 seems about right, and then $499 with cellular. So, and of course, if you want to get the stainless steel and the sapphire and all that, that's going to be even more yet.
Yeah.
They wanted to make it extraordinary, and this is the best watch
Oh, my
yet.
word.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, did you say earlier, Dave, that the Watch 8 could be ordered today? I saw it goes on sale September 16th. Wait, what is today?
It can be ordered today. It'll be ordered today. It ships on September 16th.
Okay.
16th.
I'm also seeing a
that would be the
comment
day
on.
you can walk into the store.
Also seeing a comment on Wired where they said, I was on a plane to California and the Apple Watch Series 7 congratulated me on standing up for 6 hours. Maybe the Series 8 can fix that. You know what I would like the Series 8 to fix? I would like it to fix the fact that I walk around the kitchen for a good 10, 15 minutes preparing dinner and it doesn't count a stand hour or even 1 second of a stand hour.
You need to be about over 15 minutes, Mike. I think you're about a minute or two short, probably, and
Short.
then it's really
Yeah.
like you're doing an indoor walk.
For standing?
Right.
Well, then why can
Yeah.
I do this
Oh,
for
for
like
standing.
15 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
I can
sorry,
do that.
the standing option. Yeah, sorry, you're talking about yeah, that is something which what it needs is an echolocator, so it knows how high it is off the ground, and it needs to understand how tall you are, so that it understands that you're standing up. Yeah, I get it.
We have the Apple Watch Ultra. That's what it's
Ultra.
called.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, 49 millimeter titanium case.
And
Oh, my.
titanium. Ooh, the price
Yeah.
is going to be good on this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the other watches, the Watch 7 had a titanium
60
version.
hours.
I think it started at 800. So this is
You're-
going to
I
start
guess
out
you're a
at
little
least
head-
at 800.
60 hours extended battery life. 36 hours of battery life on a single charge. 60 hours in a new battery optimization setting coming later this fall. So it's not, they've not quite got it ready yet. But yeah, it looks quite
High
chunky.
contrast international orange. Yeah, I know. This is the watch
Ooh.
I need because I'm so physical and I'm just out all the time.
it's not infrequent that we'll be recording an episode of For Mac Guys Only, and Eric will be in the background doing aerobics.
Star
Push-ups.
jumps.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
Star
Yeah.
jumps, all of it.
Star
Yeah.
jumps. Star jumps. Or as we call them here in the States, jumping jacks.
Okay.
Star jumps works. I like that better.
You do star jumps before you play rounders, and you do jumping jacks before you play baseball.
You're right. You're right.
Wow. 36 hours of battery life and then 60 hours of extended. Is that with the low power or?
Low power, probably.
Well, it says 60 hours in a new battery optimization setting.
Wow.
They have the Alpine Loop band. It's interesting. G-hook securely fastens it.
I just like the orange all over. Everything's orange.
I love
Except for
that
the case.
international orange. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got yellow as well.
An Ocean Loop band with titanium buckle. Oh boy.
And this, of
This is
course,
gonna-
is your case design, Gaz. We've got
think?
a flat screen, sharp
Yeah.
edges. Well, sharp edges
you
around
could
the
cut-
screen anyway. Yeah.
Well, you got the sharp edges so you can cut your way through a tree if you need to escape one.
Right.
It,
right.
It's to take care of that bear.
It's
That's
a
what it's for.
multi-watch. It's a multi-watch, not a multi-tool. It's a multi-watch.
I like the ocean
Yeah,
band though. That is
we're all
fun.
waiting for the price now, aren't we? Because we know that.
Yes,
we are.
Well, it's got to. I'm gonna say 1,000, probably with the bands. Because the titanium watch before was at least 800 or 799, something like that. So that's my prediction.
I mean, I'm good for Apple. Get into this high-end watch area.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people are spending thousands of dollars on Rolex and other high-end watches. Why
Oh
not?
yeah. Tag Heuer, you name it. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, but
Tech, yeah.
they're more fashion though, aren't they? This is definitely going for the rugged outdoor look rather than a fashion
Yeah.
statement. So they may have to be a bit careful on the pricing.
there were
Yeah.
rumors about extra buttons on the left, and it looks like I'm seeing one there under the speaker, but I'm not quite sure yet.
They're saying the L1 and L5 GPS that'll
Yes.
be the most accurate GPS ever.
Yes, there is one, Mike.
Yeah, I see it.
Or there's something there. Certainly looks like a button.
And this is interesting too, where it has a technical wayfinding face that can be customized for ocean, mountain, and trail. And there's a night mode. When you rotate the crown, the UI turns red.
I know that's cool.
That's great. You know who's going to love that as astronomers?
Yeah. I wonder if that's why they did it. Yeah. It looks like it's going to have this updated GPS. So even if you're stuck between buildings in Chicago or between the rocks in, Yosemite, you'll still get accurate location.
I have to admit, I'm slightly disappointed that the entire watch itself is not orange. I think that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. You're right. There is a button on the left, and it's orange.
Do we know what that does yet?
It starts a stopwatch. It looks like, or it starts your workout.
Really?
I think, Mike, that they're going to make sure they're going to market for this before they start doing the different colors.
Go
So
too
leave
crazy.
it a year or two. Leave it a year or
Right.
two, and then the colors will appear.
Yeah, this is definitely the Explorer Athlete. I mean, they got even more advanced compass they're showing.
It's got a siren for emergencies as well. 80 decibels.
Does it really?
Wow.
It says,
Oh, that's
yep.
sweet.
Does it really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that this is using different bands yet. It really looks like the aluminum ends of the band they're showing snap into place just like the old bands did.
But I wonder if
See it
they're
on her
just
wrist.
not
It
going to
looks big.
fit. Yeah. I wonder if it's just going to be too big for the
It
normal
may just
watch,
be a
though.
same design.
Yeah,
It
that's
may
true.
just be the same design,
Yeah.
Mike. Because it does look, I agree with you, it does look like it snaps in, but I wonder whether that's just the,
Well, I mean, look, to be honest,
because it works.
to be frank, I should say, as you've all pointed out earlier, based on the cost of this watch, I'm fairly certain you can afford to purchase a new band or two as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
86
there's a
decibel.
scuba app.
You can go pretty deep with this in the ocean.
Am I seeing 97 feet, Dave?
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
You can scuba dive with it.
Wasn't the other watch, wasn't that at least, it's 50 meters, so how is that 120 feet?
130 feet. 130
Yeah,
feet
so
is the maximum.
I didn't think it was 50 meters, Eric. I might be wrong. I thought it was more like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
but I might be wrong on
Yeah,
that.
it was.
Oh,
thought it was
I
like-
could be. It seemed like it was. Yeah, well, this definitely is going to be.
It'll
a
be
scuba
more. This
diving
will
watch.
be more. Yeah, this
Yeah.
will be more than the other one, of course.
That looks like you can do with the GPS. You can, if you're out hiking and you're out camping, it looks like it'll leave breadcrumbs for you, so you can find your way back.
You're thinking of Hansel and Gretel, aren't you, Mike?
I was thinking of that bear, if I'm, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
A bear would love a trail of breadcrumbs. Oh, look,
Yeah.
a trail to my meal tonight. How nice. Along those lines, though,
Yeah.
Eric, imagine a hatch. That button on the left, you press that button, a hatch opens, and spikes drop out of the watch to deter those who are chasing you.
Right. Or even like flares, just.
Obviously, we're waiting for something to happen here, which is why we're vamping a little bit.
Yeah. There's a video going on at the moment, and the video is showing a diver currently, and they're going into some caves, and they're obviously just showing the video of the divers, and then occasionally the diver looking at their very expensive diving watch, which happens to be an Apple watch. Do we know what it's the Ultra, isn't it? You called it the Ultra.
Yeah.
Ultra.
No, and it'll need a big button. Actually, that's a good point about the button, because I think I saw a slight frown on your face, Mike, when Eric said it's a button to start things. But actually, it's really for when you're underwater and diving, and possibly got diving gloves on as well. So it's got a bigger button for you to be able to press to do whatever it is you want to do on it.
I have not. Well, yeah, that's actually a really good point. I have not seen the depth verified on my screen yet, but I just pulled my watch off, and it's a water resistant up to 50 meters. Is it 97 meters or 97 feet?
I saw
97 feet
97
doesn't seem
feet.
very deep.
Oh,
Well, 97
No.
feet might have just have been what they were showing as part of
The-
a demonstration. It goes down to EN 13319, whatever that is. So it's probably
Oh,
a lot
well.
more than 50 meters.
it's at the
Yeah.
maximum it said was 130 feet.
That seems like. Well, that would be the current.
130 feet? I don't know about that.
Let's see. Well,
50 meters is roughly 150 feet.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's, so that wouldn't be a lot more than what today is. So it must be something like Gary said, the EN 13319. Got a
That must be
built-in
some sort of
depth gauge.
technical. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
I'm
$7.99.
guessing that.
The price starts at $7.99 GPS or cellular.
Well, that doesn't seem bad.
Wow. No.
Same price for GPS and cellular.
Yeah, at the base price, and then you can order it
That would
on the
be for-
16th. It'll ship on the 23rd of September.
Okay, so I expect the $7.99 is for the base, and then if you want cellular, you pay an extra 100 because that's what
I don't think there is a Wi-Fi
Yeah,
only.
I do.
Is there a Wi-Fi only?
So what you're saying is it's a Wi-Fi and
All-
cellular is what you're
It
saying.
may be
models
just
of Apple
maybe only
Watch-
offering one.
Okay.
It said all
Go ahead.
models of
Go
the
ahead.
Apple Watch Ultra are $799.
Okay,
Yeah.
then
Holy-
that's,
wow.
that answers it then. Yeah.
Holy crap! They're going to be selling a lot of those if that's the case.
Yeah. So did they say what the glass was made out of? Because I will say that the sapphire and the stainless steel too for that, but I've never had a scratch on my watch face, with the sapphire glass. So I'm curious if that's still what they're using in the Ultra or not.
I did see an image go past of the glass being taken off or coming off in one of their breakdown clips, but it didn't say what it was.
I'm not seeing anything in
It doesn't say.
the feeds here either.
No.
If there were two layers of glass with the upper layer being a protective layer that's user replaceable, that would be
Awesome,
a really
yeah.
nice feature. Or if not user replaceable, at least easily replaceable.
Yeah.
But I suspect that's not the case.
Yeah. Doesn't say on their tech page. I can see.
This is a
There
polished
is-
sapphire surface.
There is a commenter on Wired who says, I swear to God, I will get this magazine to pay for me to run a marathon, snowboard, and surf all in one day to test this watch.
Watch.
Ah.
I know.
I will
He's
jump
not-
in that bay right now. No one test me.
He's not gone for the diving bit and just the running and
A
climbing.
little
and that.
enthusiastic, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think Dave's right. That price it's within reach, isn't it? People are now. I tell you what, people are
is.
now going to be doing. They're
is.
going to be eyeing this up versus the standard watch if they go for the better quality case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And may not necessarily use it as
Which is-
what it's intended.
Correct.
No. Right.
Similar
It'll be a
to-
fashion piece.
Similar to a Range Rover or a Jeep or, what have you,
Right.
where the four doors are being purchased as, parking lot accessories, not off-road accessories.
Correct.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
wondering
It's
if people were going to be purchasing this for their outdoor activities and a standard SE or Series 8 for their day-to-day. That makes a lot of sense to me.
all depends how much their heating bill is going to be in the next year or two.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very much the truth.
Yeah, it is, but
Apples.
it is of course quite a bit bigger as well. It's 49 um, as opposed to mine. I went for the smaller one because I try and keep it unobtrusive on my wrist,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I went for, so that from 40 42 is it the full 42
Is that what?
41 42
The
up to
40,
49?
Which?
It's quite a big jump.
yeah,
Yeah.
is it 40? Well, whatever. We'll look it up.
Which?
The smaller, uh, newer Series watch is about the same size as the larger Series 3.
Yeah,
And you're not a small man, Gary. How does that look on your wrist? The smaller one. Yeah, see, that's a good size.
Mhm.
That's a good size. And that's I think the big debate for me on the newer style watch is which size to get. I don't
yeah,
necessarily need the large one on my wrist. If it's about this size, I'm pretty happy with that.
yeah, yeah.
I think this is the
Well,
42. So it's 38 and 42 on the Series 3. I think this is the larger
yeah.
one.
It was 38 and 42, and it
Yeah.
eventually worked its way up to 44 and 40, or 42 and 45. Of course, I used to have a Casio G-Shock, which
Mm.
was huge,
Everybody did.
and so this
That was like
isn't very big.
having an anchor on your wrist, wasn't it, Eric?
It was, and especially at the time I had it too, it looked even bigger.
But that's also a fashion statement. I see lots of people with very large watches, and
Right.
and some people it looks good. I just being a utility watch for me, it's got to work for me day in day out because I'll wear it everywhere. So bashing it and knocking it as I'm walking past the wall and going down the side
Exactly.
gate and just going in and out of the house and grabbing the lead of the dog and then having to fall over because he's got away. Going through gates. It needs to work, and having a big watch is going to catch more on things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty impressed that all the years I've had this Series 3, and I don't try to protect it all that much when I'm out doing yard work or
no,
whatnot.
no,
This
no.
summer is the very first time I got any sort of scratch on the glass. It was a particularly thorny bush I was cutting out, and I guess one of the thorns caught the glass and scratched it. Now I've had dents on the case. It's the aluminum case. I definitely have dents on the case, but I've never. Every time I thought I scratched the glass, I never did until this
Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
Uh,
So
so
that's
they
pretty
have the,
good.
Yeah.
That's the watch. I think
And
they've moved on.
yeah, they're on the AirPods Pro.
all
First
right.
thing mentioned was the H2 chip, even more
Yeah.
advanced, works better with Apple Silicon. Did they mention? I noticed.
Yeah, even that chip was forecast, wasn't it, Dave, as well?
Hmm.
I saw some rumor mills talking about the H2 chip.
And I will say that the with the AirPods, the connectivity as far as, I mean, the H1 chip, and I don't know which part does the connectivity. Maybe that's the W. I can't remember. But anyway, it's really, really good. And I was been wearing Bluetooth headphones for a while, Bose and Sony and everything. But when I got the AirPods, I was really surprised that I could walk as far away because I had left the phone someplace. And I realized I'm still connected and I haven't dropped out yet. And it was quite a distance. And I'm just always amazed at how well, these little in-ear headphones work, even in comparison to bigger over-the-ear headphones.
The AirPods is something I was seriously considering purchasing just a week ago as a gift for someone. And as I'm looking at them, as I mentioned, they were $180 on Amazon for the Pro, which I thought was it's a decent price for what
That
that
was
is.
249 when you bought it new.
Yeah, I think they were $249, right? So, I'm looking at that, and of course, you can't help but compare it to some of the other wireless earbuds that are out there. And just like we mentioned earlier with the watch, with the phone, with the Mac, until when you read the reviews, you start to understand. Until you actually own and use the AirPods, you don't realize how seamless it is to set them up, how well they work, how well they stay connected compared to every other model wireless earbuds that are out there that are far cheaper. Well, now we know why they're cheaper.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
They're getting closer though, Mike. Some of them are getting closer, which is good. But
Yeah.
the fact
Yes.
is, Apple's high standard is bringing them up rather than Apple being dragged down to want to sell product at an equivalent price and get sales to the others. What they've done is made a stake in the ground and said, "Catch us if you can," which is great. Funnily enough, they showed that on the video. There's this woman in an orange boiler suit almost, and she walked through and
Yeah.
she's obviously stood next to a workman out in the street who's using one of these jackhammers. That's not a star hammer, that's a jackhammer. And he's doing this behind her, and obviously what she's talking about is the noise cancellation. What I found funny was he's got an Apple Watch on. While he's doing, I'm not sure I'd be so secure using a jackhammer and having my Apple Watch on.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and the other thing I think she was saying too with the jackhammer was it's got this adaptive transparency. So I think even if you can turn it into transparent mode where you can hear around you, but apparently it's supposed to like quiet things down. So if you're walking past a jackhammer, it will reduce the noise automatically somehow.
Elfin magic.
AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple-
Magic.
Couple things to stand out here. There's going to be 6 hours of battery life. The Find My case, the Find My will now work with the case with the AirPods Pro, including it has a tone. Oh my God, they put a speaker in there, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you can use the Apple Watch charger to charge them. That is the first there as well.
That's so great.
Yes. It's huge, huge.
What do you think about that 6 hour listening time, Dave? That seems on the low end, doesn't it?
No, because it was lower on these. You could have made me 3 hours out of it right now.
Really?
On the
I
original
think it was
model.
4.5. Yeah, for
Maybe 3 to 4.5 at the most. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was closer to 6.
Yeah.
Okay, well
And
that's a pretty big improvement then.
And they kept the same price, $249.
So from that, I think, can we expect that the new iPhone is still going to be on Lightning rather than USB-C?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We're seeing a Lightning port on this charging case.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not moving away from Lightning on other things, that's for sure.
No, not yet.
Yeah, and the accessories or peripherals and stuff like that, but obviously the
I've always
iPad,
kind of compared the AirPods Pro to, is there a Beats version, Dave?
There is.
Yeah, they have the Beats Bud. Yeah, and some people are liking those. As
Yeah.
as an alternative.
More of a, yeah. I've often thought that I don't need the extra features that I get on here, and you're paying, I think it was about £50/$50 less.
Yeah. Well, the iPhone names, as they rumored, are true.
So
Plus.
we're 50 minutes in, and they've done 2 types of product.
Yeah. This is going to probably be longer because of the iPhone.
You think so? You think so? I was wondering if this wasn't going to be a quick event today.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, they were getting it down to around the hour mark, weren't they? No way is it going to be an hour mark today.
No, it could
Because
be an hour and a half.
I would
Hour and a half at least.
do we
Yeah.
expect some iOS chat as well once they've done the iPhone?
Maybe. So far, we haven't seen Craig, so
Well, perhaps he's been sacked. I just throw
maybe
that
the
out
hair
there for
running.
people. Yeah, yeah. He's been doing too much diving with his new phone.
Right.
Okay, so they're now going through some colours. Is there new colours there? Purple,
thought they're supposed to be a purple.
midnight, starlight, blue, purple, and product red. And that wasn't Starlight Blue, that's Starlight and Blue.
And blue. Okay.
Best battery life ever in an iPhone. A15 Bionic chip.
The biggest softball announcement ever.
Ever.
Ever. The longest battery life ever.
My 13 Pro Max has amazing battery life as too. So
yeah, the bigger ones have a slightly better battery life, don't they? The smaller versions. I mean, that was. So have we heard of sizes yet? Because they were talking about a 6.1 inch 14 and a 6.7,
That's what
and
they're
a
saying.
6.1 Pro and a 6.7 Pro.
yeah, I think they've streamlined it. We knew the Mini was going to be gone.
Yeah,
from what they were saying.
Yep.
And then the rumor was the A16 processor was going to go into the Pro and the Pro Max.
Yeah, which they haven't talked about. Apparently, they're still in the base.
Right. They're still done. So you have the iPhone 14 and the 14 Plus, which now you finally have a more reasonably priced, larger size screen. Because there are people who don't want to pay the max price and have the larger screen. And I think this is smart on Apple's part by doing that.
Oh yeah. Yep. A15 Bionic, but they were going to do an A16, right? For the Max?
As I mentioned, I believe. Well, we don't know yet, but that was what the rumor was.
Yeah.
There was going to be an A16.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We think they're going to talk
Pro
about
and the Pro
the
Max
Pro version.
Yeah. Right now we're on the iPhone 14,
I'm seeing some disappointment that Apple didn't mention an iPhone Mini, but do you think an iPhone Mini might stick around in a previous generation, Dave?
Yeah,
or do you think
it's
a popular phone?
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. It'll all depend on Apple if they want to continue production of it. If not, the aftermarket, I'm sure they might still have a lot on the channel.
It must be not as popular as you know.
Well, it's popular for there are. I mean, I know people that love it and they swear by it. Yeah, because they had the 12 and the 13 Mini were both
Mini.
Relatively popular in that size for those who like it.
There's still rumor that the notch might go away in the Pro or the Max, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I haven't seen a picture of a Max yet. I think I've seen the 14 and the 14 Plus.
That's what they're working on right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're
talking about the camera.
Still 12 megapixels, but it's got a larger sensor.
Yeah,
1.9 micron pixels. Better low light improvement. That was one thing which people initially, I think, quite liked, but then when they compared it against other models, decided that actually their low light performance needed improvement.
True depth camera. Yeah, the notch is still there in the 14 Plus.
49% improvement in low light capture, so that's big.
Yep. So the front camera has a hybrid system. It'll focus better in lower light. Better selfies, group shots. Yeah, finally some emphasis on the front-facing camera because they always would ignore that. But they know how important that is now. It's more than ever.
I'm seeing autofocus on the front-facing camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
photonic engine. So I think they're talking about their autofocus hybrid system on the front camera. Yeah. Deep fusion alert. Sweater mode. Don't know what that is.
Man,
Oh, good. They finally added that.
Deep Fusion. It's all called the
Deep Fusion.
Photonic Engine.
Yeah. I was waiting for sweater
Much more
mode.
detail.
I caught that, Eric. I caught that.
I got you. Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on this.
You know, the amazing thing is Apple's really come far with this computational photography that, I mean, it's getting so, I mean, obviously, you know, I have an SLR or a mirrorless that, you know,
Yeah.
I would never give up, but it's kind of amazing now what you're able to do. I mean, just with, you know, portrait mode, and I mean, there's still holes and there's still issues with it, but it's really gotten good. And even just being able to do macro photography and that sort of thing is amazing.
I think there's a bit of competition though out there, isn't there, from
Oh,
some
yeah.
of those Android and Google phones.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Their
Yeah.
camera capabilities is quite
Google Pixel
impressive.
has got a very accomplished camera, but they've really done a great job with that. But everything's mirrorless in the DSLR world. You know, I know Nikon is out of the DSLR market. It's all mirrorless.
Yeah. Canon's heading that way too, really big.
Yep.
But I think they're sick of Sony handing it to them
Yeah.
with their cameras. So,
Yep. It's time. Let's say, at least they reacted. You know, unlike what Kodak
Yeah.
happened to Kodak, obviously. So
yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Oh, stabilizer. So is that action mode?
yeah, for
Do we
video.
know
Seeing
is
anything?
that
I'm not seeing anything stand out though at the moment. A lot of
No,
you know,
I
no?
mean,
talking at the camera, there's no standout. So one thing that I did hear is this just going to be a 13S type, you know,
Yeah,
refresh?
like an S year. I think with the 14 and 14 plus, I think that's exactly it. It's going to be more of a S year. That action mode kind of looked neat. Was that is that optical or is that digital? Do we know? It's sort of like it's a stabilizer.
Didn't see that, so
mm,
that went
Yeah,
past me.
they have somebody running. I think I'm behind you, so it probably like showed up like 5 minutes ago.
Well, and I just saw the colors. You know, you were talking about a 13S year. I just saw the colors a couple moments ago that Gaz mentioned nearly at the beginning. And I'm really happy to see product red in the larger 6.7-inch plus. That was one disappointment when I purchased the 13 last year. I wanted to look at the larger screen model, but they didn't have product red in that. In fact, I found most of the colors fairly boring. And that's what I'm leading up to here with the 14. The colors seem safe. They seem okay. We know these colors will sell. It's like when you drive through a parking lot at Epcot or Magic Kingdom and all the cars are white or black, or you know, you don't see orange, you don't see yellow, you don't see the bright greens. Those are the one-offs. Every car is a van or an SUV and it's white or black. Maybe a gray, you know, and that's
Yep.
kind of what I'm seeing here. White, black, kind of a grayish blue. Not anything all that exciting, quite frankly.
well, I can tell you one thing that's interesting, and I predicted this too. Really pushed with. Let's talked about eSIM. You know, eSIM is the
Yeah.
big thing. Getting your carrier on there. They've enhanced it even more, whereas a much quicker way to transfer it. You can do it right on the fly. No more SIM card. SIM card is gone. So it's going to be
So
purely a eSIM
I,
only.
I I've been using dual SIM on my iPhone for a number of years now, so I have two SIMs in
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, I
Rather than
have one or the
because
other.
yeah, I used to carry two phones around with me.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
yeah,
right, we won't go into that. But once the eSIM came along, I transposed one of the phones because I wanted to keep two numbers for
yeah.
various reasons.
Well, now,
Um, and I've been using the eSIM for a long time,
Me too.
along with the physical SIM. But are we saying that they're going fully eSIM, Dave?
Fully eSIM.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
what they've said is
Okay.
yeah, they just announced. What they're saying is because of the hard work they work between at least the three big carriers and more in the United States, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, that they've made the process so much simpler to transfer. And that was what the pain was. My God, I remember when eSIM first came out, and I wanted to try it, and oh my God, I must have spent an hour with T-Mobile trying to finally figure out how to do it and using a utility they had, and it was not user friendly. But from if they're saying what they're saying, that it's going to be a very, much quicker way to transfer service between eSIMs, then I'm all in for that, and not have to mess around with physical SIMs anymore. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. I agree with you. It was a problem initially but it was mainly the carriers that had the problem rather than the phone. I think it was their
Right?
protocols
No,
that
it
caused
was
the
it's
problem.
for sure carriers. So they
Yeah.
said specifically there, they said 18. Apple worked very closely with the three big ones here, and I'm not sure. I'm sure they did in the UK and other places in Europe as well. Um, so that's gonna be interesting to see where that goes.
Well, it's certainly going
I
to
predict
force
I
all the
predicted that too.
MVNOs to upgrade. That all the MVNOs are going to have to upgrade their, because a lot of them do not
Yeah,
offer eSIMs.
they're gonna have to now.
They're going to have to now if they want to continue selling iPhones.
Well, like NVMO was like Mint Mobile is probably one of the more notable ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're on the T-Mobile network, so I'm sure Ryan Reynolds will be all over this and get everything switched over with Mint Mobile and get them on plan. They're going to have to. I mean, I think all carriers are going to have to do this at some point. So this is a trendsetter because I don't know of any other phone out there that's enforcing just an eSIM only uh,
No.
processor. So
yeah.
it's
Well,
interesting.
I have to say, eSIM has kind of been one of those things that's always kind of scared me because normally I'll kind of hop between plans when because I've
Hmm.
been upgrading every year, and so I'll just
Yeah, me
switch
too.
the SIM cards in the phones, and so the eSIM thing kind of freaked. I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with that because if I want to switch the SIM and move that to my wife's phone and move my wife's to my daughter's phone, I didn't, eSIM just seemed like something that was going to get in the way. So if it's going to work like they say it's will, that would be terrific. Because I have no love for transferring SIM cards, but just that it outside the fact that it worked and I didn't have to do anything more. But if this eSIM works like they say it will, that would be terrific. So
No, I don't think Apple would have put their reputation on the line if they were
yeah,
to feel comfortable that the three big U.S. carriers did their due diligence and committed, and I'm sure they were working with them for a while over this past year when this, as they're
Well,
always planning the next model. So
yeah,
talking about the communications, they've built their own
yeah,
antennas so that they can do emergency satellite calls for you.
yeah.
yes, huge, huge, huge.
This yeah, for emergency calls, and they're just talking about how they're doing. You can do it without having a huge bulky antenna. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
going back to the SIM issue, swapping a SIM card is not hard.
I
It's
know it's
not
not
hard.
hard, but
No, no.
In fact, it's quite easy. And as Eric
it's
said,
just
it's a
dated
great
technology.
way to. It's what does it matter once it's in the slot? Who cares?
Yeah,
It
you
doesn't
don't
matter.
deal with it.
And to
Yeah,
move service from one phone to another takes maybe a minute.
Right.
And we do that here too. I agree. If pass down a phone or get a new phone, you just move that SIM card from the other, and boom, you're done. And you don't have to
yeah.
involve the carrier. You don't have to do anything. Now we have to potentially involve the carriers. And one of my biggest concerns is carrier lock-in. This is something that we've
Yeah.
started to get away
Right.
from. And with eSIMs, where they're in control of setting it up and managing it, I'm worried that's a big
No,
issue here in the
no,
States, Gaz.
no. Yeah, okay. So that's where we're perhaps lucky over here in Europe because they just wouldn't be allowed to do that. It's got to be an easy process of being able to change from one
Right.
carrier to another. They'd get absolutely slaughtered by legislation over here. So they had it's now so easy. It used to be a real pain. It used to be a real pain to change carriers. Now it's like, it's easy as clicking your fingers. The eSIM will probably make that even easier, to be perfectly honest with you. The biggest
From
tie-in for me, I think, Mike, is swapping phones. How easy is it going to be to swap your eSIM from an iPhone to a different type of phone?
Hmm.
That might be where, because that makes it an easy tie-in. If people are going to have problems changing carriers here in Europe, they'll drop it like a stone. It won't do them any good at all because people swap carriers like they're buying milk.
Yeah, I still know folks who are locked into carriers. It's especially a problem with the MVNOs, the smaller MVNOs, not the larger ones. The
Yeah,
Crickets, the Mint Mobiles, they're fine. But the smaller MVNOs, the budget ones that you pick up at the end cap at Walmart or what have you, they're a problem. And
right.
while they can't they can't really, or not supposed to, lock you into their service. They still find ways to lock down your phone so that without their blessing, you can't get that phone unlocked and move to another
Yeah,
carrier.
yeah.
It's bad, and I'm hoping that
With
eSIM doesn't
with
make it
with
easier for
yeah,
them.
I hear your pain. We're lucky enough to have gone through that and come out the other side.
Frankly, I'm picturing carriers going, ha, 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 what can we do with these eSIMs? But we'll see. We'll see.
Give us the price,
Yep.
Dave.
It's a $7.99 for the 14, $8.99 for the plus.
Wow.
That's pretty reasonable.
The
That's
so it looks
what's the starting storage?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
It's
did they not
pre-order on
show it in
September
their
9th,
feature
which I
quilt?
expected.
So, but did it not show up in the feature quilt that they always have?
It may have.
I
Went
just
past me pretty quick.
It did go. I was trying to redo it to see, but the one thing interesting about the satellite is it's the emergency satellite thing is not free. It looks like it'll be free for the first
2
2 years
years. Right.
in Canada, and it looks like it's going to be in the Canada and U.S. and
Just US
starts in
and Canada right now.
November. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see how much it would cost after that. But
Yeah.
I guess
Like
so.
having
It'd probably be one of
insurance,
those
Eric,
things you'd
isn't
have to
it?
look at. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we didn't
And
talk that much about this. What describe this satellite service a little bit more, Eric?
it's just for emergency, and it sounds like they went through a great deal to try to set it up and allow you to be able to connect to a satellite without having a bulky antenna. And it did sound like it would take a little bit, and you'd have to make sure you kind of have a clear, sort of a clear view of the sky and hold your phone and kind of work at it a little bit. But it sounds like it's supposed to work pretty good. And then you can send messages, and I think you can also possibly talk. But I think it might be limited to kind of sending messages, and it looks like they had a bunch of canned messages,
Right.
and they were showing if there was some emergency service that accepts voice only that they have, and this might be where the cost comes in. They, besides the satellite time, they have a station in the middle there that will take the messages and then call whatever emergency services, through voice. So it looks interesting. It looks kind of neat. And the way that they have it, and I've just seen it again now, when you hit the emergency satellite, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, it essentially kind of tells you where to aim the phone to get the satellite signal. So then you
Oh,
kind of
that's
hone
cool.
in on that and go from there. Yeah, it
It's
does
a
look
nice
pretty slick.
backup. It's a nice backup for when you're
Yeah,
without cell service. Yeah.
like Gary said, it's good insurance.
Interestingly, jumping forward a little bit, they talked about pre-order it on September 9th, and it looks like the
Right.
smaller version is available September 16th, but the larger version won't be available until October 7th.
Right.
Oh,
So yeah, slight difference on the larger phone as to its availability. Not when you can order it, but its availability.
I'm feeling like this 14 Max has to have some incredible wow factor for us to say, You know what? That Plus just ain't going to cut it for me.
Jaws is going to tell us about it, so it must be big.
I the last phone I got, which was the 13, for the first time ever, I actually went for we got an interest-free option in the
Mm-hmm.
UK here.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the 2-year interest-free option, thinking this is probably now going to do me for 2 years. I was in a lucky position to be able to upgrade every year, and I did. But I'm now of a mindset where this will definitely do me for another year, if not longer. And the family are just going to have to start buying their own phones if they want to. If they want to.
Yeah.
Is that with the Apple Card that you got the 2 years?
No. It was with the. It was actually through Barclays Bank that they were,
No.
aligning with.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I got that. They occasionally do that. They do it on larger purchases where you often get interest free. So why take it? Why give your money all to someone else if you can hold on to it for a bit?
Well, absolutely. And the only comment I was going to have is they only offered me 1 year.
Us Europeans, we get so many things which are advantageous, and then the problem is we Europeans. So
Oh,
are
just
they?
to
Are they actually?
go
Sorry,
ahead.
go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Dave if they've moved on to the pros
Yes.
yet.
They're talking about the Pro right now. The notch is gone. They put the proximity sensor behind the glass. So, but it's looking like this notch is now a notification button that brings up any notifications right on the screen, and that's what it's showing. When someone calls, when focus mode's on, when your AirPods have connected, if it's silent, it's all. Oh my God, this is awesome! So all the notifications appear right in this over this sensor as for notifications right at the top.
So the
Really cool.
glass must have some
It's called Dynamic
imagery in
Island.
it.
They're calling it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because you can still see it. And on the early pictures they're showing the actual. Well, it's not a notch. It's more like a tablet, isn't it? It's a little
Right.
tablet at the
It's
top.
It looks like they use the term dynamic island. Yeah, there it is. It's the true depth setup that'll allow you to fluidly expand into different shapes using different animations,
Oh
transitions.
right, yeah. I'm seeing some of the images now.
Yeah,
That's weird.
it's cool.
Did you talk about
Yeah.
the notch gone?
Yes, yeah,
That
it's gone.
looks pretty
They
slick.
said they specifically said they put the sensor behind the glass, so it doesn't need to be in front of it like it is on the current iPhones now.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So then
and they're allowing.
you could use it for Face ID, but then they could put stuff in front of it, or no?
Yes. Oh my God, they're allowing third-party apps to use that dynamic island too. So like, you want to have a baseball score, it'll pop up on that small.
That's
flip there.
cool.
A little
Yeah.
bit of clarification though, Dave. It's not going to be part of the full screen though, is it? It's going to be like,
No.
as you said earlier on, a notification section, so you can use
Yeah,
it for.
To
Yeah.
expand it too.
Yeah.
This is a big change here. This could stand out a little bit, I bet.
I have yet to see this in action. I'm still seeing, by my definition, a notch. So if I understand correctly, there's LCD. This is behind the LCD panel, so they switch off the LCD pixels when you need to use it, and then switch
Right,
them
it's
back on
black
when
at
you
the
want to
top.
display something over it.
It's black at the
Right.
top, and then when a notification comes through, it just expands.
But it almost looks like it goes away, like you don't even see the notch. I don't know. Because they just showed something else where they were like in a different app, but maybe I'm not seeing it right.
Yeah.
And I'm a
It
little
does look really
confused.
neat.
I'm a little confused by the notifications because I was under the impression in iOS 16 notifications were going to start coming up from the bottom. So is this a different type of notification, a different
Yeah, I don't think
notifications?
this isn't notifications as you know it now, Mike. It's,
No,
I
I
yeah,
see.
right.
think a
You-
I
slightly
see.
Like
different,
you're getting a phone
usage,
call,
different usage.
third-party apps can to take advantage of it, that kind of thing. Yeah, not notifications like you're used to.
Although they, oh yeah, I see that they're showing a movie and there's still a cutout there for the camera. Okay, so, but they did show at the beginning when they were showing this no notch thing at the very beginning, they were showing
Right.
it expand into like a player. So, like if you're listening to music,
Yeah.
it expanded into a player at the top. So it's not just notifications; it's other stuff too.
I see. I actually just saw a picture of it and I understand a little bit better. So
Yeah.
saying the notch is gone is a little disingenuous. There is a
Yes.
notch
Yeah.
there. They're
Yes.
just
Yes.
hiding it. They're hiding it behind these dynamic
But they're
controls that appear at the top.
but they're making it more
It doesn't
useful,
dis.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't disappear completely.
And
No,
it's still unusable space from what I can tell. Even
It's
with
un.
this
Well,
this little control center, it's still there. They can't put anything over where that spot is, but they're hiding
I
it behind this little notification panel.
Yeah, I don't know if they can or can't because some of the
I, I,
cases it actually looks. I don't know.
I'm not
You could
seeing
be right.
any images where you couldn't identify that section as being
Yeah,
part of another section. If even if it's been expanded, when it goes away, that little section is still there.
Is still there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the screen, they did also there was a mention there that the Pro models are going to support an always-on display. That was rumored
yeah,
previous, so that's interesting. Just like the
up
Apple
to
Watch.
2,000 nits too, which is
Hmm.
insane. 1,600 nits for HDR, 2,000 nits for bright
Yeah,
outdoors. So
crazy. As they said, an A16 processor, 6 core.
yeah,
So there's a differential between the two.
yeah.
Yep. And then you got 20% power less power usage on the 16, A16 versus the A15.
So
Better
really
battery life.
what Apple is doing here
Yeah.
is they're separating the iPhone into two lines. The standard 14
Yes.
and 14 Plus and then the
Right.
there's two models of the Pro or the Max, I mean. Or are they
There's
calling this the Ultra? What are they calling this high-end one?
They're going to call the iPhone
Max.
Pro, iPhone 14 Pro, and iPhone 14 Pro Max, just like they have
Max.
now. 13 Pro, 13
I
Pro
th
Max.
I thought they were calling it the iPhone 14 Plus.
The low end
That
model.
was the
So
that was the
now,
low end.
Got so right. Okay, so we
yeah.
have
So
the
now
14.
someone can find a more affordable, larger size screen, and that was always as
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That was always the biggest
Yeah.
issue. Someone wanted a large screen and had to buy the Max, and they don't want to pay that kind of money. So now
Right,
they can.
right.
So
It's
to
more
your point,
economical.
Mike. To your point, Mike. Yes, there's a 6.1 in the standard and a 6.7 in the standard and a 6.1 in the
Right.
Pro and a 6.7 in the Pro.
Got it.
But they're different. But obviously in the Pro, it looks like they might be calling it the Max, but it's called the
Right.
iPhone 14 Plus as the standard
Right.
No.
for the
Yeah, so
6.7.
we have in the budget line. Oh, Apple's going to
Yep.
love that. In the budget line, we have the
in the
14.
in the low end cheap
Yeah.
version.
In the budget line, we have the 14 and the 14 Plus. In the Pro line, we have the Pro and the Max, or the
Right.
Pro Max,
Yeah, Pro Max. I
or the
think.
Pro Plus Max.
We don't know yet, but
Yeah.
It's the Pro 6.7 Extraordinary Max.
Ultra Max.
They're showing the A16 and it's like supposed to be 40% faster than the competition. They're showing that the competitors are just now catching up to the A13,
Yeah.
released like 3 years ago, and now they've
You know,
they've surpassed that.
a completely different scenario, but the same idea. It's really enjoyable to read all these reviews of, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max and the M1 Ultra, and these comparisons to these high-end ethanol belching PCs with chromed exhaust pipes on them and just
Yeah, I
belching
know.
heat into the atmosphere and
Yeah.
birds dying as they fly overhead, and they say we're fine, we're as fast as the Max, as the M1 Max. Yeah, but at
Yeah.
what cost?
Cost.
At what cost? So it's interesting to hear you say, yeah, they're just catching up to the A13. Yeah, no doubt. And I don't know. They're running over everybody with these processors, whether it's the A series
Yeah.
or the M series. Nobody is catching up without going to some sort of extreme to allow it to happen.
Yep. Speaking of running over,
No.
they did announce the 48 megapixel camera for the Pro.
Oh, they did. Oh, wow.
With quad pixel sensor, whatever that means.
Right. Yes.
So is it essentially, because it's a 12, I mean, they said something about keeping the 12 megapixel size. I don't know. So it's a 48 megapixel sensor
in the Pro. In the Pro.
in the Pro. Right.
In the
It says image
14
size
and
12
plus.
megapixel. They're showing pictures of it now.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to-
behind you. I see now.
Yeah.
12 megapixel.
So I was trying to figure out what they were talking about. Are they kind of not faking it, but they're
Interpolating.
basically interpolating, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, it says 48 pixels Pro RAW. So hang on a minute. So far, all the images shown on screen have been 12 megapixels, but you can shoot Pro RAW at 48 megapixel resolution.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that would
So
make sense.
really- Yeah.
Because
And
then
they're
obviously
aiming this
what
towards
the-
pros.
Yeah, so
There
what
you
they're
go.
doing
I
is
see it.
we're going to give you the option. We're going to give you the option to photograph at 48 meg Pro RAW, but for, if you're just taking pictures, the camera can do all its computations, so many trillion a second or per photo to give you still
Right.
extraordinary pictures.
It looks like they're offering a new zoom. So they had the half with the ultra wide, the normal, and then the third, or essentially what would be kind of equivalent to a 70 millimeter. But now they're putting a ×2 in there, which they're essentially just carving out 12 megapixels of the camera, of the sensor, and using that. And it kind of looks neat. So it's not a digital zoom. It's still like an optical zoom, I think. But it looks like they'll be able to use that and create some nice portraits and stuff like that as well. So if you use that zoom mode.
It sounds like some of the same tricks that they're using with the new FaceTime cameras.
Yeah.
Or as professional videographers use, like Wally Truinsky, who was at MacStock and said, hey, look, I've got a 4K camera. That essentially is 4 HD cameras. When you shoot in 4K, you're able to crop it down and get an amazingly good HD video out of it.
HD.
And select just what you want out of that 4K resolution image.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I've had a bit of a discussion with somebody in our referee society because they want to start. We're doing some videoing of refs, and I was talking about it and said, "Well, do you want to get a 4K camera?" And he said, "No, we don't need it that clarity." And I'm thinking, you don't understand, do you? What you can do with a 4K camera is zoom in, and when you're taking, a video of someone the other side of a rugby field, you perhaps need to zoom in to see exactly what's going on. So, I think people forget that the fact that you've got much more quality means you can zoom in and still retain quite a high quality image
Quality.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I regret. When I purchased the cameras for MacStock, I purchased HD cameras, the cameras I could afford. and within 3 months they released a 4K camera at the same price point, and it was very disappointing to me. But I'm going to run
What can
these
you do?
cameras into the ground, and once they're no longer serviceable, I'll upgrade to those 4K or 8K cameras or whatever is the current standard, and I'll be happy with that.
Yep. And HD is for a lot of years we didn't even have that. So now I sound like an old man.
In my day, we had to use
There's a comment
puppets. We used puppets and acted everything out. And that's how we did it.
Stop motion is how we did it. All these videos, there's a comment here, all these videos and photos look spectacular, but then of course they do. Apple's good at this game, but how will they look when I'm chasing my dogs around the park?
That is a good question to send into Tim. I would send that in and see how his assistants respond to that.
Now you could do 30 frames per second at 4K or 24 frames if you're a pro filmmaker. I wonder how long that 24 frames a second will stay around. Camera.
I think as long as people want that nice, soft kind of cinematic feel to their video, it's gonna stick around. It's digital anyway.
Yeah.
I was shooting in 24 for the longest time, and I switched to shooting in 30. I don't really like the look of 60. It's just too... Well, there's something weird about it. But 30...
Well,
is okay.
30 looks good.
Looks good, yeah.
Well, and I totally agree. I think, when they're doing 48 and all this stuff, it just kind of looks weird. But, I mean... 24 was only there to get around a budget constraint. It was the slowest they could shoot film to, that where it looked like people were still moving. And I know people got used to watching.
Yeah.
Right. But now that we don't have that, it's kind of funny that we're still sticking to it. But I guess, maybe we just got used to it, and that's the thing. And that's what people like.
They haven't mentioned battery life. Have they just said it's an all-dayer? Seen anything about battery life?
No.
Yeah, it did say all day. It did say all day battery life.
Even with the screen on all the time.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I tell you, this new iPhone's becoming even more of an advanced pro camera. I mean, for the video pros, the photographer pros. I mean,
to your point earlier, Eric, I'm seeing a comment on Wired. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between Wired and what's the other one I'm looking at? Creative Blog. Bouncing back and forth between them. Creative Blog is putting out better photos, and Wired is giving better detail. But one of the commenters here says, to your point, that many Android phones with high megapixel cameras use a process called pixel binning, like you said, kind of cropping, and which nets you a 12 megapixel photo. But it sounds like Apple isn't doing this since the photos it's showing off have the full 48 megapixel resolution.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But I don't know if that's accurate. Again, it's a comment on one of the blogs. I don't know how accurate that is.
It sounds like it could be, because it kind of makes sense. Usually if Apple's going to do it, they're going to do it. I mean, which is probably the reason why they haven't, this is the first year, because 48 megapixel on a phone is not new. I mean, it's not new. Did that years ago, and so and Apple always seems to be more about quality and trying to. So they were showing the 14 Pro action mode. So it's the same sort of thing where it's got the stabilizer on the back camera, and it's supposed to be really good.
So there's a comment here about there's been so many accidents and crashes and car crashes in this event. They've even done it now for the iPhone. Apple crushed so many cars for this event, so the phone will actually come in. It looks like you've been in a crash. Yeah.
They're all using self-driving cars, so the engineers at Apple say, "Well, we better have crash detection."
The problem is you're going to have so many devices which you've got to say, "No, I'm fine, and then you're going to miss one, and then all of a sudden the rescue services will appear and give you a bill for turning up because actually you're fine.
I know. I know.
Exactly. So 4 new colors.
Prices.
I haven't seen prices yet. Have you seen prices?
Yeah.
Have they showed the Max?
So iPhone SE 429, iPhone 12 599, iPhone 13 599, 14 from 799, iPhone Pro from 999.
So they're still keeping it the same pricing.
Looks.
Well, they did say it was going to go up.
No, that's not. That's the same price for the Max, the base model.
No, but that's
these
the
are all
Pro,
base
right?
model
If they
prices.
showed the Max?
Yeah. They just said Pro Max for $10.99.
Okay. So there's no difference between the Pro and the Max, except
keeping,
for
like you
the
said,
Pro and the Pro Max.
Right. It's going to be the size
$100.
screen and $100, right? But they're keeping the 12 and the 13 in the line, which is interesting. But I'm curious to see. Obviously, when the store comes back up online, I'm going to go check to see if the Mini is still one of those options. It's possible it is.
Well, they did have the 11 and the 12 in the lineup after the 13 came.
That's true. So
I
11 is
do-
gone, but they're
I
keeping
do-
the 12.
I do feel like they're spreading the iPhone lineup a little thin. I just cut some of these old models and be done with it. Because there's too many choices with too fine of a line between them that makes it very difficult for an average consumer to decide, what should I get? And so they tend to skew towards the lower end.
Can I say, actually, that makes the iPhone 13 a really good buy.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
it does.
Yep.
If they keep the Max, that's going to be interesting to see. It may just be the 13 and the 13 Pro.
They do tend to lop off features when they do this. They do tend to lop off storage options, and they do tend to lop off colors.
Yeah. But if you're looking for a device and you don't need all that extra stuff, it makes it a really desirable device. So I'm going to not buy the 15 next year. I'm going to buy the 14 the year after.
Right.
Is that right? No.
Not
the 15 next year. No, next year I'm not going to buy the 15. I'm going to buy the 14.
I was advising someone on a new iPhone a couple weeks ago, and I said, now, you need to know that Apple is introducing new models in just a couple weeks. That's what you need to know. However, if there's a color that you like right now, purchase it, because there's a good chance that color won't be available once the new models are out.
Right.
And I think that's probably the case. Obviously, I've not seen what the 13 and the 12 are offered, but that was the case with the 11 and 12 last year, as some of the colors got lopped off.
Oh, are they up? Crikey. They're not.
Now, they did mention a new color in the 14 Pro. They mentioned a deep purple, which I like, but again, the rest of the colors in this lineup are fairly boring.
But I think a lot of people look at it and they put a case over it anyway.
Put a case over it.
And I think there's something about it, because like you said, with the car makers, they always tend to stay pretty conservative. They never really go off too far from the, like you said, you have these brightly colored cars and they're one-offs, or they're Lamborghinis or Ferraris or whatever, and they're not your normal car. It's anytime I see that with some weird color, I know it's just a custom paint job, because you'd never get that from your typical car maker.
Maybe, yeah.
Off the lot.
Some of the car makers do experiment with some nice, bright, bold colors. Jeep comes to mind. But even Jeep, even the Wrangler, the latest Wranglers, like the electric model, which is great, but the colors are more conservative. And you think with the electric that,
Yeah.
it would be...
Why not go all out?
Why not go all out? Exactly.
So the store hasn't gone down, but it hasn't updated yet. Because normally
It
for
was
the event, they'll often go down, don't they? But they
I
haven't.
know.
No, it did go down. It's right now. It's saying almost there.
No,
It was down
mine's
this
not
morning.
gone down. In the UK,
Okay,
it's
maybe in
not
the UK
gone
it's
down.
different. Yeah, must be different. Because I saw
But
early this
normally-
morning they were posting that it was down.
Yeah, normally it goes down, but it hasn't. It's now. Let me think. Maybe that's because of caching. Although I've not looked
Yeah.
at the phones, and it's letting me. It's
No,
letting me look at the
mine is-
phones. No, I can get
mine's
to
up.
it. I can get to it.
Yeah,
It's up.
I
so-
can get to it too.
but
Mine's
it,
up.
But it has
Sure.
got. But I haven't got. But I
Yeah,
haven't got the new.
it just came back.
I have to share a
Okay.
listener or a viewer, I should say a viewer. I have to share a viewer comment here. Now, he's not subscribed to the channel or hasn't been subscribed for, I have limits on it for who can comment and stuff. You have to be subscribed for at least 5 minutes to the channel before you can comment. But he sent me a text message from our friend Guy. Our friend Guy
Guy.
sent me a text message, Guy Searle. He said, I want to crash my car to try that feature.
Yeah, typical guy. Yeah, and
That's
do you
Guy.
know what? Do you know what? He probably would.
Yeah, I wouldn't
We'll
put it
find
past him.
out. We'll find out on the next Guy's Daily Drive. If you have not watched Guy's Daily Drive, it's a compelling series on VertShark, the VertShark channel on YouTube. And you would not think watching someone drive to and from work is all that exciting, but there's some interesting nuggets in there. And I encourage anyone to go check out VertShark if you haven't done that.
And he'll be on In Touch with iOS tomorrow, so we'll find out more as well.
There you go. There you go. So where are we with the event? What's going on here? Are they
It's
done?
over. It's finished.
wrap.
It's gone.
It's wrap.
Hour and a half. Yeah.
So
And it looks like the storage. So
It
looks like it goes up like $100. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying you got ahead of me. I didn't go to check yet. Go ahead.
No. So yeah, for the max, it's $10.99 for 128, $11.99 for 256, $13.99 for 512, and $15.99 for 1 terabyte. So it's almost kind of the same.
Same pricing. Exact same pricing.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Because I have the 256 and I paid that. Well,
You know,
I'm in the trade-in program, but
I was at 256 with my 8 Plus, and I bumped down to 128 with my 13. I just was not using all that space.
Using all that.
Yeah. Now I am starting to feel a little constrained on the 13. Although I think I still have 30 something percent free. So I've got quite a bit. But let's go back over what was talked about today. Dave, what stood out at you?
I really like that dynamic island feature on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I think that was super cool. The eSIM I think is a game changer. I think that's going to be something that I know I'm going to place bets. We'll start seeing a lot of tweets and complaints on blogs about that. But it's inevitable. It needed to get done, my opinion. The satellite SOS, I think, is another game changer. I think that's going to be something, and we didn't really talk about it, but I think more so in rural areas. I mean, eventually they're going to allow the service to be available all the time for people in rural areas that who have challenges for 5G or cellular service for that matter, because there's a lot of places around the world that don't have good or any cell service for that matter. So that's going to be a good start with that. So. Apple Watch. I mean, I didn't see other than the Ultra. I didn't see anything too overly exciting to me that stood out. So, but the Ultra is a cool watch. Not something I'd be interested in buying. The Series 8 seems pretty close to the Series 7, but you know me, I'll wait a few weeks on the watch and maybe a few months, and then end up buying it anyway. But but definitely getting the iPhone Pro Max, the 14 Pro Max. I'll be on my trade-in for this year. And the AirPods Pro, that was a great. Finally, they updated them after over 3 years. So some good features. So those all stood out to me.
The AirPods Pro, some of the features on that maybe folks are looking out for, the 6-hour listening time, which you corrected me that is definitely improvement, up to 30 hours total listening time with the case, when you combine the case with the AirPods for occasional recharging. Precision finding, we did touch on that, but that'll be nice to have. And with the
My
long
find rate.
rumored speakers in the case, so that you can find the case now too. That's great.
Yeah.
Huge.
2 times more active noise cancellation. I guess we'll have to find out what that means in practical reviews once those start coming out. The Apple Watch charger compatibility is huge. I like that a lot. 1 less charger to carry around with you. Oh, and we didn't touch on this. I don't think any of the 4 of us need this, but a lot of folks will really appreciate the new extra small ear tips.
I was going to, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. They now have 4 different sizes of the ear tips, all the way down to extra small.
Yeah.
And I think many women who have very small ears, my wife included, have had challenges with the AirPods fitting in their ears. And this could be, without having to go to a third party, I think Apple was smart with that.
Now, it does mention touch control. I was under the impression that there was some touch control on the AirPods Pro before. Is this
It was
new?
click.
It was click. These currently,
volume.
I don't want to click it, but for the volume and changing a track and all that stuff, this is actually going to be a touch. So you can actually.
That's the difference.
I think it's still going to have the click. It's still going to have the click. But,
you have the click. You have
so
both.
you can change tracks and stop and play and pause. Yeah, but now you're going to, what you couldn't do on the current, or what you can't do on the current iPods Pro, or AirPods, excuse me, AirPod Pros, is change the volume, which is a huge deal. I really miss that but now you're going to be able to kind of grab the stem and move your finger up and down and change the volume up and down, which is actually a really nice thing. Because a lot of times you don't have your phone really handy and you want to be able to do that. So.
Yep, as we see our friend Guy say, he made it into the chat room.
You let him in.
2 times active noise cancellation?
I know. I'm interested to see what that is too.
Oh man. Okay. Gaz, what stood out at you? I know you're liking the look of this new, what are they calling it? The Watch Ultra. Are you going to get one?
Well, I'm liking the look of it. I think it might be too big for me though. So I'm gonna. The thing with the watch is I'm gonna have to go into store to see it and try it on. So that is one thing which I'm gonna have to do. I'm not gonna take it on, order it and see whether I like it and then send it back and go through that rigmarole. I prefer to go through the rigmarole of going in and talking to somebody and trying it on in store. I like what they're doing with it. I kind of like the price, but I think I'll probably just end up getting the standard GPS and cellular standard watch, if I'm honest. But we shall take a look first, especially if I start doing some price comparisons, and I'm now on the Apple site in terms of, I'm going a bit dark because it's quite dark here now.
I was going to say, you have this lovely portrait mode, visage of you.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go in because what is going to be interesting is doing the comparison between the Ultra and some of the higher end Apple Watch case structures to see what the price difference is, because I've always had an aluminium one, and I've always fancied going up to the stainless steel. So, if going to a stainless steel standard is meaning that I'm going to get the option to possibly go to the Ultra on a similar price option, then maybe that's going to be something I'll look at. Not that I'm ever going to use it for diving, but I do use it for a lot of sports. So, yeah, that's something I'm going to have to take a bit of a look at. And while you're doing all the other stuff, I've been doing quite a lot of comparison on the iPhones, but we'll come to that in a little while, I'm sure.
Eric, what will you be spending your disposable income on next week?
I do really like the look of the Ultra Apple Watch. And to answer Gary's question, I do have the stainless steel, and it's usually around. I think it's been $5.99 to $6.99, depending upon. It might have been $5.99 for the without cellular, $6.99 with. So it is fairly close to the price of the Ultra, which is why I was, surprised when they said $7.99 for the Ultra, which does have a sapphire glass and then a titanium case, which looks like they've taken away that option on the regular watch. They used to have a titanium case available for that, and I don't think they do. The other thing is it does look like it's going to be 100 meters water resistant, and so as opposed to 50 meters, so it doubles what the watch can do. So yeah, I definitely like the look of that. I don't know if I'll end up getting one or not. And then the iPhone 14 seemed like it was pretty much just what the rumors. It's always what the rumors say, and I do like the look of that as far as the camera is concerned. I think, I'm not sure about the rest of the features, but definitely probably the AirPod Pro. I use my AirPods Pro every day. And in fact, now I just had been using them and the battery went dead during the podcast. So, because I didn't have them charged up like I should have, and usually the battery life is terrific, and they're just great headphones. Is as much as I'm a headphone junkie and have other sets, I really use those just because they're small. You can put them in your pocket, carry them wherever you want, and the noise canceling has always worked really, really pretty well. And so now with the second 2 times noise canceling, I can only imagine. So hopefully that'll be good as well. So. But I think definitely, I would look at the AirPods. As far as the rest of it, I don't know yet.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys noticed as Eric was talking there, I put up a comment here from Guy, and this was actually where I was going to go with my comments on this. Can anyone make a compelling argument to buy a 14 if you already have a 13, not counting the Pro models? No.
I would. What I've just done is pulled up the comparison page on the Apple website over here in the UK, and I'm just trying to compare the iPhone 13 6.1 versus the iPhone 14 6.1, and there's £100 difference between them, and I can't see a great other than crash detection. They're both A15 chips. There is very little between the two, and I think I said that in the show, didn't I? That I thought, the iPhone 13 is going to be a really good buy. You can't get the iPhone 13 Pro with the 3 cameras. You have to go now to, if you're going to buy one with the 3 cameras, which is what I got. I got the iPhone 13 Pro 6.1. That is now no longer available. So if you want the 3 cameras, you're going to have to go to the iPhone 14 Pro. But the 6.1 13 and 6.1 14, wow. This really feels like they've shot their own foot. Because the photonic engine, it's got that. It's got the crash detection. I'm not seeing a great deal more for that extra £100.
Is the emergency SOS, that's limited to the new model, right?
Yes, I'm just trying to find that. I've not seen that scroll past, but you've got your crash detection and probably the SOS. And what else did I say? I said something else, didn't I? The photonic or something.
I'm looking at, as Eric called it, the feature quilt, and if they might even officially call it that, I don't know. But I'm looking at this. I don't know. So crash detection, emergency SOS, To answer Guy's question, to answer the thought that's in my head, to answer the thought of anyone who's looking at a new iPhone, what is your use case scenario? The exact
Yeah,
same
yeah,
questions
absolutely.
are starting to become relevant that we ask every time we purchase a new Mac. What
Yep.
is your use case scenario? If your use case is to be out in the middle of nowhere, hiking
Yeah.
with or without a companion, as you should be, shouldn't be hiking alone, folks. Always, always go out hiking with a companion,
Or
but
a bear.
or a bear.
Or a bear.
But but if you're going to be out, how important are these couple new features when compared to the 13? And is it worth that extra 100 pounds? I was going to make a bad joke and say, wow, I didn't realize it was that much heavier, but
Ha. Boom, boom.
bum, bum. But I
And
see, I restrained myself until I could no longer.
yeah.
And then I
So
had to put it out there. I had to put it
there is
out
a
to the world.
there you have got green with the iPhone 13, of course, which you don't have with the iPhone 14.
Oh, green is still available. Good. Yeah, no, see,
Yeah.
you know what? I really do think that's a compelling reason to look at one model versus the other. And I did almost purchase a 12 last year because again, I couldn't see that much of a difference between the models that was important to me, but color then
Right.
became a factor. And getting product red was, I wanted a product red phone, and that was important to me. And so that's what tilted the iPhone 13 in my favor. So,
Yep. Yep.
One thing I would have to say, probably for the iPhone 14, the Pro models anyway, is the notch. It seems like a small thing, but I could see I could see that, and it's kind of too bad that they didn't do that for the entire line, because I could see that being
next year.
something that's, yeah, next year,
Yeah.
that actually will really be useful, and especially if they've given access to that to third parties, to other developers, something that, somebody will come up with something even more creative. And because they were just showing that where, people were pausing or changing their music by just tapping that, or like swiping down from that, and it brings up the player, they change whatever, swipe up, and it goes right. That's handier than going even to the control center now. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if there's stuff like that, I could see that would change the way that you would use the phone. And even I don't think I really care about the always on, but again, the always on display with that. So there's things like that where you wouldn't think, well, I'm going to buy that phone because it's got that. But at the same time, if you have it, you'd probably say, I don't think I could live without. I mean, I've gotten so used to doing this now. I don't think I could, I don't think I would like it very much to switch back.
The wake of an iPhone is so seamless and so quick that
Yeah.
I ask myself, is always on important? And I'm asking that as I'm looking at my 13 sitting in a stand on my desk and the display is dark. However, I do know I just tap that screen and it wakes up.
It's awake.
In fact, it unlocks. It wakes up and unlocks. But as you said, once I get used to an always on display and all I have to do is at a glance see what's going on without tapping the screen, how much more indispensable does an always on display become to me? And I think that's Apple's secret sauce right there. They introduce these features, they get some people to use them, specifically the pro level users start to use these features. Someone like me who has a lowly iPhone 13 comes across someone like Dave using a Pro, and I say, oh my gosh.
Pro Max.
Oh my gosh, look at that always on
Max.
display. That's awesome. I can imagine using that. Then suddenly I find myself whipping out the Apple Card and trying to buy an iPhone 13 or 14 Pro.
Yep.
But, that was not, I don't think that was Guy's question. And that wasn't what the point I wanted to raise either. He wasn't comparing the 13 to the 14 Pro or the Pro Max. He was comparing 13 to 14. That is the 14 or the 14 Plus, I guess we would say. So now how about that Pro? Dave, you are on. One thing they didn't talk about is a subscription plan. There were rumors that there might be a subscription plan introduced here. But the very first thought that came to my mind is Dave has had a subscription plan for years.
Yep, and I just checked it, and I've gone through the Apple Store, and I can participate in the trade-in program just like I have in past years. So it's basically just an even swap what I'm paying now, other than I'm continue to pay it.
So,
but
you're going to, I imagine you're going to swap for a Pro
Max. Yep.
Pro Max. And
Yep.
what do you have now?
Pro Max, 13 Pro Max.
Pro Max. Does anyone else have this trade-in program? Eric or Gaz? No.
No.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
either.
available in the UK, but
I keep my phones too long.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, look
to
how
do
long I
that.
had that 8 Plus.
Well, mine go down the family, so I'm never going to
Yeah.
trade
Right.
it in. So,
Yeah.
That's the same with me. It goes down
and
the
can
family.
I just say, Mike, the SE 4.7 available, the 13 5.4 or 6.1 still available.
So the SE
you mentioned-
is still
you mentioned
available, just not
Yeah,
as
that's
a 14.
can leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then-
they kept the 13 mini is still in that, like you said, the 5.4 inch screen, and then the 12 is just the 12, just the 5. What is it? That 6.1 screen or whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh, let's see.
And then I'll give you two more things notable.
Yeah.
iOS 16 is going to get released on September 12th.
Oh, great.
They just released the release candidate in the developer. I think I'm going to, since this phone will be gone soon, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade because I haven't done it. So you got that, and then they did discontinue as expected the Series 3. So RIP. Apple Watch.
Well, they had to, really. I mean, with no more software upgrades coming forward, if they continued to sell it after today, talk about, I mean, I said I was disappointed they continued to sell it up until, yesterday.
Yeah.
But if they continue to sell it after today, that I don't know what's going on at Apple.
Yeah, that's gone.
Guy is wondering, this is awesome having folks in the chat room. I love this about our new recording process, Eric. This is great. Guy is wondering, does the SE still have Touch ID? I don't
Never
know the
changed.
answer to that.
It hasn't changed. It's the same phone.
It's the exact same phone.
They're just carrying it over.
All right. That's great. Anything else that you guys want to comment on before we wrap up today?
No, I think we had a lot of stuff. A little over an hour and 30 minutes this bad boy lasted.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of things to cover. And they kind of wrapped it up. Very, very little fanfare today. Very little excitement. I think the biggest excitement is that new Watch Ultra. I think there's a lot of folks who are going to snap those up. It's going to be in short supply, in short order.
Yeah. Short
and
order.
even for someone like you guys, I can see this being a smart purchase, considering what you do. I can't imagine how much your watch gets knocked around as is. So to have something that can provide a little bit more, rugged wear seems like almost a no-brainer.
One comparison though, Mike, if I go for the standard watch, which I have now, rather than the Ultra, I'm almost paying double for the Ultra compared to the standard watch.
Yeah.
So it's not just, if I was going to the stainless steel casing for the standard watch, then I'd be thinking, oh, well, I might as well go to the Ultra. But if I look at the price of the standard watch, the aluminium case that I've got, which I've got at the moment, and which has got very few scratches on the case. I do have a couple of scratches on the screen, but as soon as it comes on, you can't see them. I'm almost doubling the price. So, it's still maybe a little way off. I'm not sure I'm prepared to pay that much for that higher device just yet.
You could really purchase two, one and a spare.
Yeah.
And not need the Ultra is what I hear you saying.
Yeah. We're nearly,
Yeah.
nearly. It's a little. That'd be a little bit more, but yeah, it's not far off.
Awesome. Anything else any of you gentlemen would like to mention before we wrap things up?
No, great show.
All right. Well, I'm personally going to look forward to your show this week, Dave. And I know you said earlier that you have Guy on as a guest to talk about all this.
And Kelly as well. Kelly
Gamont, Guy Searle will be on your show this week to wrap up the iPhone event. And our friend Chuck at Mac Voices will also be doing a Mac Voices Live tonight.
Yes.
And you are probably on that too, Dave.
Yes, I am.
So if we would like to find you oh no, we'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, well then that's going to do it for this episode of For Mac Guys Only. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Remember, I do love to get your letters, so if you have any comments about the show, a tip to share, or a software or hardware problem with your Mac, you can write to me, Mike, at formacguysonly.com. And if you would like to share your feedback with anyone on Team For Mac Guys Only, our email and social network addresses can be found on the Meet Team For Mac Guys Only page at formacguysonly.com. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Thanks to Dave and Gaz and Eric for joining me. Dave, how can folks get a hold of you?
They can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. I'm on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm, like Chuck mentioned, I'll be on Mac Voices Live tonight. I'm always there on Tuesday nights, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Fridays, and we'll be wrapping up our keynote poker. I think I got one thing right, if I remember correctly. And I'm on Twitter at DaveG65. Thanks again, Mike.
Awesome. And Gaz, how can folks get in touch with you?
Well, I need some more lights because it's got a bit dark here, as you can see. But you can
The GoFundMe to get you some Elgato key light errors is going to be started.
Either that or ask Apple to change the timing of their keynotes. That would help. You can contact me at Gary at formacguysonly.com or Gaz at mymac.com. On the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, GAZMAZ. And tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be on the Mac and Forth show, which is a totally British set of British guys. So Carl over there, Carl Madden, who we occasionally have over on the My Mac show as well. And of course, every week, and we'll probably be covering everything that's been shown today on this week's My Mac, which Guy and I will record this coming weekend.
Awesome. Mac and Forth is great. Yeah. If you haven't listened to it, you should check it out, especially this week.
Yeah, or not.
or not.
Yeah.
And Eric, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
As usual, Eric at For Mac Guys Only, and that's probably the best place actually, because I'm not a big social media guy. So I mean, I do get on, and I'm on Twitter somewhere, but it's email's usually the best.
We keep a tight leash on you here at For Mac Guys Only headquarters.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't allow anyone to reach you except through Eric at For Mac Guys Only. I think that's
right.
I think that's the deal. I think that's
you don't
the deal.
let him out.
Just keeps me locked in this room.
That's right. Well, thanks so much for listening, everyone. Thanks again to Dave and Gaz and Eric for joining me. Stay subscribed, and we'll talk to you next time.